Hi friends, this is a video on GST implications on supply of goods to the customers located outside India under bill to ship to model from vendor located outside India. An interesting case to listen to. Like the video and subscribe the channel please. Sterilite Technologies Limited is a company registered under GST. They are engaged in the development and supply of software with respect to telecommunication qua Wi-Fi service management platform OSS or BSS alongside packet core with flexibility of modular and pre-integrated offerings and also trading in hardware. They procure requisite hardware from the vendor located within India or outside India on payment of applicable duties or taxes. Such hardware is sold as per the requirement of the customer on payment of GST except in case of export. The applicant proposed to undertake transaction and supply of hardware commercially known as merchant trade transaction, wherein the applicant will receive an order from the customer located outside India and as per their instruction. Vendor would directly ship the goods to customer located outside India. Vendor would issue an invoice on applicant against which payment would be made in foreign currency and applicant would raise invoice on customer and would receive consideration in foreign currency. In the transaction, goods would not physically come into India but would move from place outside India to another place outside India. The applicant in their application has raised the following issues for determination before the authority. Point number 1. Whether GST is payable on goods procured from vendor located outside India in a context where the goods so purchased are not brought into India. Point number 2. Whether GST is payable on goods sold to customer located outside India where goods are shipped directly from the vendor's premises located outside India to the customer's premises. The appellant was given a personal hearing and their advocate made submissions. They submitted that their company is engaged in rendition of software development services qua Wi-Fi service management platform, OSS BSS alongside packet core with flexibility of modular and pre-integrated offerings, etc. In addition, they also undersupply of IT hardware to their customers. They submitted that they propose to undertake merchant trade transaction wherein they would receive an order from customer located outside India. Back-to-back order would be placed by them to supplier located outside India. Goods would be directly shipped by vendor outside India to customer located outside India. Payment would be made in foreign currency to vendor and the applicant, Sterlite, would receive foreign currency from customer. They therefore wished the authority for advance ruling to determine if any GST is payable on goods procured from vendor outside when goods purchased are not brought into India, and whether GST would be payable on goods sold to customer located outside India. On the basis of facts disclosed in the application, oral and written submissions at the time of personal hearing, and documents produced during personal hearing, it was decided to admit the case. As per Section 2, Clause 10 of the Integrated Goods and Service Taxes Act, import of goods with its grammatical variations and cognate expressions means bringing goods into India from a place outside India. Then, as per subsection 2 of section 7 of the Integrated Goods and Service Taxes Act, supply of goods imported into the territory of India till they cross the customs frontiers of India shall be treated to be a supply of goods in the course of interstate trade or commerce. Subsection 1 of section 5 of the Integrated Goods and Service Tax Act states that, subject to the provisions of subsection 2, there shall be levied a tax called the Integrated Goods and Services Tax, in all interstate supply of goods or services or both, except on the supply of alcoholic liquor for human consumption, on the value determined under Section 15 of the Central Goods and Service Tax Act, and at such rates not exceeding 40%, as may be notified by the government on the recommendations of the Council, and collected in such manner as may be prescribed and shall be paid by the taxable person. The proviso says, provided that the integrated tax on goods imported into India shall be levied and collected in accordance with the provisions of Section 3 of the Customs Tariff Act on the value determined under the said Act at the point when duties of customs are levied on the said goods under Section 12 of the Customs Act 1962. The Customs Tariff Act 1975 was amended by the Taxation Laws Amendment Act 2017 by introducing subsection 7 in Section 3 of the Customs Tariff Act with effect from 1st July 2017 to enable collection of integrated tax on the goods imported. The relevant provisions of the amended Section 3 of the Customs Tariff Act reads as follows. The clause 7 says, any article which is imported into India shall in addition be liable to integrated tax at such rate not exceeding 40% as is leviable under Section 5 of the Integrated Goods and Service Tax Act on a like article on its supply in India on the value of the imported article as determined under subsection 8. Subsection 8 says, for the purposes of calculating the IGST and subsection 7 on any imported article, where such tax is leviable at any percentage of its value, the value of the imported article shall, notwithstanding anything contained in Section 14 of the Customs Act, be the aggregate of value of the imported article determined under subsection 1 of Section 14 of the Customs Act, or the tariff value of such article fixed under subsection 2 of that section, as the case may be. And B, any duty of customs chargeable on that article under Section 12 of the Customs Act, and any sum chargeable on that article under any law for the time being in force, as an addition to, and in the same manner, a duty of customs, but does not include the tax referred to in subsection 7 or the cess referred to in subsection. The provisions of the Customs Act 1962 and the rules and regulations made thereunder, including those relating to drawbacks, refunds, and exemption from duties, shall, so far as may be, apply to the duty or tax or cess, as the case may be, chargeable under this section, as they apply in relation to the duties leviable under that Act, that is the Customs Act. Now, let us see the relevant provisions of the Customs Act 1962. Section 12 is about dutiable goods. 1. Except as otherwise provided in this Act or any other law for the time being in force, duties of customs shall be levied at such rates as may be specified under the Customs Tariff Act 1975 or any other law for the time being in force on goods imported into or exported from India. Subsection 2. The provisions of subsection 1 shall apply in respect of all goods belonging to government as they apply in respect of goods not belonging to government. Section 15. Date for determination of rate of duty and tariff valuation of imported goods. Subsection 1. Rate of duty and tariff valuation, if any, applicable to any imported goods, shall be the rate and valuation in force. A. In the case of goods entered for home consumption under Section 46, on the date on which a bill of entry in respect of such goods is presented under that section. B. In the case of goods cleared from a warehouse under Section 68, on the date on which a bill of entry for home consumption in respect of such goods is presented under that section. C. In the case of any of the goods on the date of payment of duty, provided that if a bill of entry has been presented before the date of entry, inwards of the vessel or the arrival of the aircraft or the vehicle by which the goods are imported. The bill of entry shall be deemed to have been presented on the date of such entry inwards or the arrival as the case may be. The provisions of this section shall not apply to baggage and goods imported by post. Then, from a combined reading of the provisions of the IGST Act, the Customs Tariff Act 1975 and the Customs Act 1962, it is evident that the integrated tax on goods imported into India shall be levied and collected at the point when duties of customs are levied on the said goods under section 12 of the Customs Act, that is, on the date determined as per the provisions of section 15 of the Customs Act 1960. This issue has already been decided by Authority for Advance Ruling in Kerala in 2018 in the case of Synthite Industries Limited, Ernakulam, Kerala. It was held that the goods are liable to IGST when they are imported into India, and the IGST is payable at the time of importation of goods into India. The applicant is neither liable to GST on the sale of goods procured from China and directly supplied to USA, nor on the sale of goods stored in the warehouse in Netherlands after being procured from China to customers in and around Netherlands, as the goods are not imported into India at any point. This was the verdict in Advance Ruling in Kerala judgment, not this. This is only a quotation given for this case. Now, we find that in the context of high sea sales, Circular number 33/2017 issued by Customs has been issued clarifying that subsection 12 of section 3 of the Customs Tariff Act specifies that all duties, taxes, cesses, etc. shall be collected at the time of importation. That is, when the import declarations are filed before the customs authorities for the custom clearance purposes. The relevant portion of the circular goes like this. The GST Council has deliberated the levy of IGST on high sea sales in the case of imported goods. The Council has decided that IGST on high sea sales, transactions of imported goods, whether one or multiple, shall be levied and collected only at the time of importation. That is, when the import declarations are filed before the customs authorities for the customs clearance purposes for the first time. Further, the value addition accruing in each such high sea sale shall form part of the value on which IGST is collected at the time of clearance. The aforesaid decision of the GST Council is already envisioned in the provisions of subsection 12 of section 3 of Customs Tariff Act, inasmuch as in respect of imported goods, all duties, taxes, cesses, etc. shall be collected at the time of importation. That is, when the import declarations are filed before the customs authorities for the customs clearance purposes. The importer, that is last buyer in the chain, would be required to furnish the entire chain of documents such as original invoice, high seas sales contract, details of service charges or commission paid, etc. to establish a link between the first contracted price of the goods and the last transaction. In case of a doubt regarding the truth or accuracy of the declared value, the department may reject the declared transaction value and determination of the price of the imported goods as provided in the customs valuation rules. This circular is applicable in the present case too. Similarly, we find that where bill of entry or import declarations are not being filed with respect to the goods so procured, GST would not be leviable. With regards to the second query regarding leviability of GST on outward supply from place of vendor to customer, it is to mention that the thumb rule for determining the taxability of any transaction is to ascertain whether the transaction tantamount to supply in terms of the provisions of the law. The term supply has been defined at Section 7 of the CGST Act, which reads as under. For the purposes of this Act, the expression supply includes A. All forms of supply of goods or services or both, such as sale, transfer, barter, exchange, license, rental, lease or disposal made or agreed to be made for a consideration by a person in the course or furtherance of business. B. Import of services for a consideration whether or not in the course of furtherance of business. And C. The activities specified in Schedule 1 made or agreed to be made without a consideration. In this instant case, the applicant is selling goods for a consideration in the course or furtherance of business, and as such the transaction tantamount to supply in terms of the definition of supply. Once the test of supply is met, the next step is to determine whether the same is an intrastate supply or interstate supply. In this regard, it is pertinent to examine the provisions of Section 7 of the IGST Act. Subject to the provisions of Section 10, supply of goods where the location of the supplier and the place of supply are in two different states, two different union territories, or a state and a union territory shall be treated as a supply of goods in the course of interstate trade or commerce. Subsection 2. Supply of goods imported into the territory of India till they cross the customs frontiers of India shall be treated to be a supply of goods in the course of interstate trade or commerce. 3. Subject to the provisions of Section 12, supply of services where the location of the supplier and the place of supply are in two different states, two different union territories, or a state and a union territory shall be treated as a supply of services in the course of interstate trade or commerce. Subsection 4. Supply of services imported into the territory of India shall be treated to be a supply of services in the course of interstate trade or commerce. Subsection 5. Supply of goods or services are both A. When the supplier is located in India and the place of supply is outside India. B. To or by a special economic zone developer or a special economic zone unit. Or C. In the taxable territory not being an intrastate supply and not covered elsewhere in this section shall be treated to be a supply of goods or services or both in the course of interstate trade or commerce. This statute indicates that in the event that the supplier is located in India and the place of supply is outside India, such supplies shall be treated as interstate supplies. The place of supply in the instant case would be governed by the provisions of Section 10 of the IGST Act, of which the relevant text reads as under. The place of supply of goods other than the supply of goods imported into or exported from India shall be as under. A. Where the supply involves movement of goods whether by the supplier or by the recipient or by any other person, the place of supply of such goods shall be the location of the goods at the time at which the movement of goods terminates for delivery to the recipient. In this instant case, it is an undisputed fact that the supply involves movement of goods and therefore the place of supply would be the termination for delivery to the recipient. The goods under consideration are supplied to overseas buyers as declared by the applicant, and as such the place of supply will be a place outside India. Further, the supplier is the applicant who has declared the principal place of business within India and issues the invoices for sale of such goods. This indicates that the supplier is located in India and place of supply is outside India, and as such the same would be interstate supply in terms of provisions of Section 7 subsection 5 of the IGST Act. Thus, it is very clear that the transaction undertaken by the applicant tantamount to supply and is an interstate supply. Having travelled thus far, it is obvious that IGST will be leviable unless the goods are exempted or are at zero rated supplies, which have been defined as export of goods or services in terms of the provisions of Section 16 of the IGST. In this instant case, the applicant has not stated the nature of goods and has not declared that such goods are exempted under any notification issued under the powers of Section 11 of the CGST and the corresponding State Act or Section 6 of the IGST Act. Thus, the only possibility of goods not subject to levy of IGST would be the circumstances where the goods are exported. The term export of goods has been defined under subsection 5 of section 2 of the IGST Act 2017, which reads as under. Export of goods would mean, with its grammatical variations and cognate expressions, taking goods out of India to a place outside India. The above definition indicates that the act of taking goods out of India to a place outside India qualifies as export. In the instant case, the goods have not crossed the Indian customs frontier, and as such, it is clear that the goods are not physically available in the Indian territory. When the goods are not available in the Indian territory, the question of taking goods out of India does not arise. Thus, the subject transaction does not qualify as export of goods. Let me read this again. The subject transaction does not qualify as export of goods. In view of this entire analysis, it appears that the transaction is covered under the ambit of interstate supply and is neither exempted nor covered under export of services. Thus, the theory of elimination takes us to the conclusion that such supplies will be subject to levy of IGST. Here goes the ruling on query number 1. GST is not payable on goods procured from vendor located outside India, where the goods so purchased are not brought into India. 2. Applicable GST is payable on goods sold to customer located outside India, where goods are shipped directly from the vendor's premises located outside India to the customer's premises. Thank you for a patient hearing. In order to get more such videos, kindly subscribe this channel and click on bell button to receive new videos in real time. Please like the video in order to encourage to make more such videos.